Chapter -4. Anastasia. An axe crashed through the cell door. Anastasia stepped through the splintered wood, holding a candle in front of her. Next to her, her bewhiskered colleague, Thomas, holding an axe. "Barnes, Gatewood, are you here?" "I told you they couldn't keep you for long," Anastasia called into the darkness, eyes glistening above her mask. Her long hair fell heavily over her shoulders. The jester blinked, obviously surprised to see this mysterious woman standing in the cell doorway. "Sorry, milady, it's just me," and he looked in Cass's direction. Of course he didn't see her. "Just me." "And who is just me?" Anastasia looked at the jester sitting with his hat askew. "Please tell me you're not the jester and that you are just in disguise. Does the king dare insult me by locking up my men with fools?" "Do not worry," said the jester dryly. "I'm not a real jester anymore. The king saw to that." "Come now, nobody in here," said Anastasia's bandit colleague. "That's right, Thomas, nobody. Merely a tool of royalty who is now abandoned properly. This is the thanks we get for making the monarch laugh while his subjects starve. Well, just desserts, I say. How does the saying go? If you lie with the dogs, you will rise with fleas. And if you saw how comfortably the king's dogs lie, you would lie down with them, too," declared the jester. "The pillows are very fine indeed. As for the royal fleas, they do not bite, but merely scratch when you complain of itch. They are but servants in a miniature livery." Cass stifled and laughed, but Anastasia did not appear to be listening. With a last competition look at the jester, she swung her hair around and left, leaving the cell door open. "Let's go," whispered Cass. "What? Oh, yes," answered the jester, his eyes still focused on the spot where Anastasia had been standing. "I'm glad you're here. I thought maybe I'd imagined you after all. Now I'm right here, in the flesh, well, in the invisible flesh." She gave him a tug. Outside the cell, it was chaos. Every door in the dungeon had been opened in search for the captured bandits, and cheers of the escaping prisoners rang through the corridors so loudly it sounded like they were in some kind of underground sports stadium. Cass hesitated before following the other prisoners out of the dungeon. "Ugh, those poor guys. All the prison guards have been thrown into the central cesspool, mouths gagged, hands bound, and stood on their shoulders in muck, watching with mute rage." The jester chuckled. "Why the angry faces, gents? Are you not slugs in your natural elements? A smelly mud of your shoulders be your mother's milk?" A few of the guards lunged towards him, only to slip deeper into the cesspool. From the looks in their eyes, the guards were all thinking about what they would do with the jester if they ever got their hands on him again. And they weren't planning on patting him on the back. "Come on," Cass shuttled the jester's hand and ran up the stone stairs out into the moonlit night. Just outside the exit, the bandits were waiting on horseback. A few riderless horses at the ready. "Look, let's get on the gray one over there," whispered Cass, pointing to the horse standing by the wall a few feet away. The horse whined invertedly. The jester hesitated. "I have trouble and a fear of horses." "Oh, great," Cass groaned. "Could you be more like Max Ernest if you tried? I don't think so. What? Never mind. There's no time to be afraid. We have to get out of here." "Don't worry," said the jester, standing tall. "I conquered the fear long ago, the first time I escaped from prison." "You were in prison before?" asked Cass, alarmed. "What did you do?" "Nothing. I was referring to my parents' house. It's far worse than this place." Unexpectedly agile, the jester hopped onto the gray horse and pulled Cass up after him. Anastasia reined her black steers next to them. "You, jester, what are you doing? That's not your horse." The jester laughed. "You're a fine one to talk, Madame Thief. I would bet a king's ransom that the horse you're sitting on is not yours either. But if you'd like, I will give this one back after we have escaped." Anastasia is about to offer a retort, but a dozen soldiers on horseback appeared from behind the palace, heading in their direction. "Very well," she said, displeased. "Follow us. But if you lose that horse, you will pay with your life. Men?" She whistled, and the bandits took off in the thunder of hoofs. Cass woke with a stiff neck and a sharp twig poking in her back. Above her, the maple tree made a pattern of green and gold. It was a day. Raising her head slightly, she spied a few burlap tents and a trail of smoke winding upward. Instinctively, she reached for the double monocle and remembered it was gone. Oh well, I'll have to survive without X-ray vision in the past. Or rather, the future. She would have to again. Rubbing her eyes, she looked out at the campsite in its oddish fashion. It was the bandits' campsite, she deduced when she saw the surly-looking man Thomas striding towards her, this black mass hanging around his neck and his axe swinging on his thigh. She was about to greet him when he walked right past her, humming in a way one does. Only when one is alone. She'd forgotten for a moment that he couldn't see her. Feeling like a spy, she watched him stop at a tree a few feet away. When a teeny stream started to trickle in her direction, she had an awful realization he had been relieving himself from the previous night's drink. She scooted to a safety just in time. As the bandit returned to the campsite, the jester walked up to Cass, or rather to his hat, which was sitting on a rock 5 feet away from her. It was the first time Cass had seen him bareheaded in daylight, his orange curls springing in all directions, like coiled wires. "Cass," he whispered to his hat, "are you up?" "Yes, but I'm over here, to your right," she whispered back. "Where?" He looked around confused. "I left my hat as a marker. I moved around a lot in my sleep. Wait, stay there." She got up and walked over to him. "Here I am," she said, picking up the hat. The jester stepped back in surprise, as the hat appeared to be flying in the air and landed on his head. "Ah, I see that you are," he said, recovering. "I brought you breakfast." He held up a metal cup full of some kind of gruel-like porridge. "I wasn't sure if you ate real food or if you only need invisible substance," said the jester, watching the cup move in the air. "I'm starving, but this is disgusting. What is it?" The jester laughed. "Do they not have rudimentary from where you come from? Well, enjoy it. Those selfish thieves have a pile of treasure that would be an envy of a dragon. But I beg and plead for a tiny little cup. Rudimentary, in case you don't have it where you come from, is made from boiled wheat. Sometimes considered England's oldest dish, it was a mainstay in medieval cookery, traditionally served with venison or porpoise. Yes, venison as in deer, and porpoise as in dolphin. They are not selfish. They steal from the rich and give to the poor, like Robin Hood." The jester laughed. "Who? All I know is that I'm poor and they aren't giving me any treasure. I think the only reason they let me have a cup was that it stuck to the lodestone. Have you ever seen a lodestone? I don't think so." "Marvelous thing," said the jester. "Metal sticks right to it like it were glue." "You mean it's a magnet?" The jester's face froze. "Quick, give a cup back to me," he whispered. "But I'm not done. Give it back to me. Anastasia's coming." He grabbed the cup so hard it spilled rudimentary all over him. "Practicing for a comedy?" Anastasia regarding the jester with an arched eyebrow. Without her mask, she was even more beautiful, but no less formidable. "I think next time perhaps you should just empty the cup for rehearsal." "It's not the same," said the jester, playing along. "I need to feel the spill to play the role." "And yet you need not to be a real actor with whom to say your lines. I saw you talking a moment ago. He is very talented, I thought. He who can speak to the air. Watch, and I shall pluck the whole world from the air. My comedy is my magic. My jokes are my spells." "Perhaps," said Anastasia, turning serious. but your spells have no place here. They do not protect us against the king's men, nor do they clothe the poor. Yes, but they feed the soul. We want to feed the hungry. That is our only goal. Must their food be from slumber? Do not the poor deserve a merry dinner? So they can forget their hunger, forget injustice? No, so they can laugh at it. 'Tis not the same. The bandit shook her head. The men and I have agreed you must go. On foot, do not forget our horses are ours. You have 5 minutes, and if you are not gone when I return, we shall remember how close you were to the king, and we shall be much less generous with you. The jester watched her leave, uncharacteristically quiet. Cass looked from the big porch stain on his shirt to the glum expression on his face. Sorry if I made you look silly. I should have given you the cup back faster. The jester shrugged sadly. To her, I will always be silly. I think no matter how I look. He forced a smile. Do not worry. A jester is not a jester who is not sometimes seen talking to himself. Is that not our job? To throw balls from our right hand to our left. To throw jokes from our left side of our mouth to our right. A jester is no more in need of an audience than a puppy needs a kitten to chase his tail. Or is it a kitten who does not need a puppy? Or the bird? What I mean is, I have no more need of Anastasia than, he stammered, confused by his own analogy. I am perfectly merry without her. That is all. I never said I wanted to marry her. Who said you did? Asked Cass, slightly mystified. Nobody. I am perfectly capable of chasing my own tail and running in circles all by myself. That is all I'm trying to say. The jester flustered. Now, my invisible friend, where do we go from here? Cass glanced around the woods. She had nowhere else to go. The only goal was to find the jester, and she found him. It was time to ask about the secret.